Well, Vadim, thanks for joining me today. You are the founder and CEO of a company that's been around since 2008, around there, Diffco. Tell us about Diffco, and I'm actually excited to have you on because you're, I guess I would say, like a very experienced engineer, software engineer, and I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Yeah, I mean, thanks for inviting. Yeah, I know a few things about computers, maybe. That's can confirm or deny. But my company is Divco. We developing different software for different growth stage startups and enterprises. And yeah, we started 18 years ago. So in some countries, we can all, start drinking finally. But it's been a journey. And right now, our main focus in Agentic AI development and building custom systems with AI-enhanced development techniques, and as well as building agents for many enterprises that we work with. So basically replacing human workflows and automating human workflows with actually AI agents that works.
Yeah, and in our pre-call, I talked to you quite a bit, and it just seemed like you were good engineers before, and now with AI tools, it just seems like everybody uses that term 10x engineer or 100x engineer, but I think in your case, in my opinion, it actually applies. Seeing some of the output that you guys have done, what do you think about that?
I think realistically, when we talk about 10x engineer, 100x, or like, again, you hear all over the numbers. Realistically, this is the question of basically what type of project you have and what kind of, and how you actually measuring this. Because first of all, this is unrealistic metric. The same as like, you remember that on the old days was like, oh, this engineer delivered so many thousands lines of code.
Yeah.
And does it mean that this engineer is good? And
Yeah,
like how we can actually measure that we 10 times faster?
yeah.
It is an actually interesting type of illusion because in fact, in many cases, humans do not touch the tickets or like not touching the codes, etc. So why and how we can actually measure this? So it is an output per number of tickets, but this is also questionable. Can we measure this by speed of development of the project? Can, yes, but in reality, architectural things in a project and product type of decisions is actually the most limiting factor in many cases. So again, I think when we're talking about those numbers, it's really great tagline for TechCrunch article. But well, to actual folks on the field, it is more like a bluff, and you're like, yeah, great. We have the number, but what does it actually mean?
Well, what about let's go to something really pragmatic, like costs. For the same project, would you say the cost is less or more or the same with AI tools?
I think realistically, we cut down the cost for our clients by at least 4x.
Wow.
In
Okay.
most cases. I would say in most cases, it's still discussion. It's also really important to determine if it's a new project or if it's brownfield project. So it's existing project. Those completely different. An illusion that you have like a 20-year-old legacy code base and you can really do wonderful things with AI about this. That's a really interesting myth. It's not in reality, unfortunately. You still have many legacy issues as you would with humans as well. And for many of those projects, they're not actually documented well. So you have a lot of surprises along the way.
So a lot of refactoring going on, possibly.
Yeah, and this is really interesting conversation when what type of project you actually encounter and how to approach. Because if we have a new, completely new project, yeah. But like, again, in the same way, I don't see people building competitors of Hotspot and Salesforce in one day. It's not happening. And I don't think it will happen next year or two. I don't think we're near those kind of things. So actual large piece of software it's not replaceable by AI, at least at this moment. Can you develop really large system with AI help and develop it faster than previously? Absolutely. But again, those things are completely different.
So, I mean, one of the last questions I was going to ask you was like, what would you build today as a founder? Like, what would you build? Like, let's say you were starting your own project. What would you build today? No, I was going to leave that for last, but it sounds like it just fits right into this part of things. If you're not going to build SAP or you're not going to build Salesforce, what are you going to build?
I mean, it's all comes down to the old matrix of system of decision, system of engagement, and system of record. Yeah.
Mm,
And now we have also another thing that we call a system of intelligence, which is basically a system of agents or agentic systems, which is quite a new concept in a way, and it's really dependent on what could be done. In reality, it's a lot of different opportunities. I would say what to build. I think realistically, I would try to go against the most hardest and most compliance-based industry, because no one would look there, and those things looks really tough. In reality, they in many cases not really tough. Um, and they all want to automate. Again, banking, healthcare, insurance type of businesses, any like complex manufacturing, drug discoveries, etc. So again, when you go against those complex type of system, you really finding an interesting opportunities, I think. And you really can defend your position much more than building, let's say, a simpler tool, market automation or something like this.
hmm
Because come on, like how many market automation tools are there? And
Yeah.
we all use 10, maybe 5. So again, I think this is my playbook, because you do not look into the most brightest thing. You look into the most unsexy type of industry, and you look, okay, now I will get and own this.
Yeah. It's funny that you say that because I watched a video with uh, a fellow who is a billionaire, but you don't know he was because he just chose the most unsexy type of industries like piping and logistics and different things like that. And it sounds like the software industry is going through the same sort of thing. It's like choose the most boring like part of software, the regulated areas, the compliance areas, the piping, the things that are I guess used on a mass scale and just build there. So that's very interesting to see. Um, and there's a lot of people building out stuff in Silicon Valley that are, the AI for HVAC companies, the AI for whatever. And I think you have a strong opinion on these things, just looking at your website. And I know you're a service provider, so you will build anything, right? But what do you enjoy building the most?
Oh, okay. So you really prepared the challenging questions. I like this. Thank you. Man, like again, realistically, I would kind of divide this into three type of categories that would be in a way interesting. I think still in enterprises, it's a lot of use cases that you can really solve. And I really like to see the case when you like take a large system and you really let's say we had 150 sales folks or working on the flow, and the output was, let's say, 100 mil, just as example. And now we can take and free up basically more than half of the day of those people so they can sell more.
Mm-hmm.
In reality, it's not 200 mil, it's 160, but it is good. And when you see those examples, you're like, okay, this is really the right flow of things. And you know that you can automate more and you can get rid of even more things that people do not need there. And again, I'm not talking about like replacing humans, because I think in sales, you need human touch, and I think it will be valued for a long time. I think the second thing is really challenging R&D projects.
Mm-hmm.
When you when you look into the specifics of the project and you like, I have no freaking idea how to build this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And again, you know the direction, but you have no idea how to build this properly. You doubting which approach you would choose. And this is more complex type of things where you do not try to recreate the same systems that exist. I think those are kind of like the most fun and challenging to work with in a way. Not necessarily the most profitable in many cases. However, I think it's a lot of fun to work with those. Beside this, I think the last piece is the projects that you kind of like you see the immediate result. So you build the system and you work with the founder. It's not about the product; it's about the founder in this case, because we work with a lot of growth stage startups, and we work also with a lot of second-time founders. And I'm a big fan of working with those guys because they know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And you sometimes see on like some decision that they will make, and you're like, why? And it ended up being a great deal. And again, you learn from those experiences. And I think this is the biggest kind of advantage of working in this industry, that you can learn from so many folks in the same time. And you have a lot of relationships that really kind of leading you to understanding that those type of projects really is something different.
Mm-hmm.
And when you see the napkin idea coming back to an actual 100 million plus business in the next couple of years, this is really amazing.
It sounds like you're almost taking an advisor consulting position as well. Are you also? And I believe you said you're also an investor in some of these projects too, if you like the idea.
I kind of like combining the advisory and investor role in some of those cases. In some cases, we work as a service provider for them. In some cases, we so completely separate.
Okay.
And I also mentor in Alchemist and a few other places, but yeah.
Okay. Talk about your experience as a investor. What do you like? What would you invest in?
On early stages, you mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's a kind of really straightforward playbook. So it's always combination of timing, market, and founder.
Yeah.
Realistically, for me, the founder is more important than many other things, because I see that sometimes the great founder will create the market, or sometimes the great founder will adapt the product. And I think the fact that, again, the founder is really founding team in reality. You want to see the folks that not just knows what they do, because this is the boring part. Like if you have insurance folks trying to build an insurance startup, yeah, they would build something, but they typically would not build a disruptive thing.
Mm-hmm.
When you have real outsiders coming to this market and they really create something new, And they don't know that no one done this before. Like creating the accounting systems in a way that no one done before, you like, why you have not done this before? Like, oh, no one actually suggested this, but this is, I think, a good thing. Why you skip this? Oh, no one actually suggested this. So again, I think challenging the status quo is important there. And founders that really kind of bold and really persistent, and really seeing the future, I think this is really, really important. And not being afraid, again, on losing, because it's always the conversation, are you have fear of losing, or you have a um, basically passion to win.
Mm.
And in both cases, it's okay. And it's just two type of founders. And in my cases, I think you can find a right playbook, but you need to see those eyes really, really. You need to see
You,
the fire there, because
you,
if you don't see the fire, it's all long gone.
that makes a lot of sense. You need to look into a founder's eyes and see like that man is really or that woman is really crazy and they're going to take a big risk or they're going to do what it takes to make this company succeed. So it's like a
Yeah,
passion.
because the founder's journey is really lonely.
Mm-hmm.
The entrepreneurship in general really, really lonely and really, really painful.
Mm-hmm.
People think about like smoothies and all the funny things and looking into the wonderful things of TV shows, etc. In reality, it's freaking brutal, guys.
Mm-hmm.
And they like, oh yeah, we will raise so much money, we'll do such wonderful things. Come on, like first of all, only 1 out of 10 will raise anything.
Mm-hmm.
Second, 1 out of 20 will raise something else on the second round, and we can continue.
Mm-hmm.
And if you rely only on investments, you already lost. So it's many other things that exist in this playbook that are important to change.
Yep. And I think you said it right there. It's a journey, and it's something like a lot of people don't take into account. It's funny. Did you see the post by Gary Tan out of Y Combinator talking about you know uh, founders who are in their 40s and 50s being a little bit more resilient than founders. Well, he didn't make a comparison. He just made the statement, and I just thought that was cool because there's people like myself included that have a lot of life experience, and that sort of goes into your skill set. And Y Combinator is known for just having 18-year-olds, right, and 23-year-olds, but to have the founder and the managing partner of Y Combinator say something like that was kind of like it made me smile a little bit. What are your thoughts about that?
I don't think it's specifically about age or like specific type of experiences. I think it's all about the energy that you have.
Yeah.
Because again, I see absolutely dumb 20-year-olds and absolutely dumb 40-year-olds and 50, etc. And I have absolutely brilliant folks in the same categories. And I see that they like really like, I see so many founders being so careful.
Mm-hmm.
You're not winning by being careful.
Yeah.
You win it by betting and betting again and again. The business is all about experiments. It's like, hey, I have a theory that this stuff will work. I have no idea it will. I have only limited control, but I will do whatever it takes to really prove the theory. And it will not work by itself, and I will push it as hard as I freaking can. And the only way I succeed if I really analyze if this is actually a good outcome or not. And I will be wrong in many, many cases. And this would be a fun journey because I will fail so many, many times. And my successes actually comes from those failures that I will learn and I will adapt and will stand up again and will do whatever it takes. So I think this is the kind of like the journey. And I think I have a lot of folks in the 40s and 50s and even 60s that I think is a great founders. And in the same time, I have the same category that really kind of careful and like, oh, I don't know if I should. Oh, let me take a vacation and think about this stuff. No, you know that this will not work. Like, you need to battle this today.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's need to be done immediately. Not like, because like the point is, if you keep uh, combining those issues, you will have a lot of issues.
Mm-hmm.
If you try to bottle them and you prioritize them and you play right, sure. And it's not about the rules either. Like, again, your own rules. Again, you need to remember that history written by winners, not losers.
I love your perspective. Like, I thank you for correcting me on that generalization I made, which was clearly a generalization, and it's hard to say anything across the board like that. But you're right. You're right. It is about attitude, really. It's about attitude, sense of urgency, um, instinct, many different things that happen. Um, anyways, let's move on. You've been pre-vibe code, initial foundations of vibe coding, and now we're getting to the point where we're having cloud agents just not just doing work for you, and you're just coming back and hitting the PR button or merge button. Um, where what's wrong? How is software changed, and how is what is the career progression for a software engineer these days? Like what's the best way to get started on all these things?
I want to be honest, I have no idea.
It's changing, right? Yeah.
I been asked this same question around 9 months ago. Oh, 7 months ago. So basically, the Opus was just released, and we've seen completely different flows of agentic workflows. Again, it's all just like started basically. And one person that I think is 18 or 17 asked me about like, hey, I study computer science. What do you think? What is the next steps will look like? And I'm like, man, I have no idea.
Mm.
Because again, I've been running this business for 16 years or for 18 years. The reality is I have no idea where it will lead us in the next year. I don't know where we will be in next months. Again, the horizontal planning in many companies now like weeks.
Yeah.
And it is long because you literally don't know what will happen tomorrow. So I think like the reality of many of those use cases, that I think the fundamentals is important. And right now, how we see this is we don't need coders anymore. Like, we don't need people who write the code because we're not writing code anymore, specifically. We need to understand the system. So we need people who can design the system. So we need architects, we need product people, and we need to create a right harnessing for them to build those systems, not other way around.
Mm-hmm.
So in many cases, it's all about the context. and all about putting the right structure of AI to build us. So in the software industry, I think architects still will be important. I think really understanding and playing really, really fast and learning really, really fast is also really important, because like it's not longer enough and not longer actually making sense to just go ahead and check your wherever books and like learn something for a year. No, those skills doesn't really apply. You need to
Hmm.
learn really, really fast, and you need to adapt. The fun fact, like again, I don't care which language you're learning, it doesn't really apply anymore. Because like again, we took many projects in the last 6 months for tech stack that we had limited capabilities for. The fun fact, we actually never wrote any code.
Oh, wow.
It was all by AI. We found many issues in a legacy system. We fixed those. We applied those things. We're not writing this manually because it doesn't really make sense. Because it is expensive. First of all, it's slow. And second, we will make mistakes.
Yeah.
Will AI make mistakes? Sure. But if we compare a number of mistakes of AI to human, we actually will see that we actually do pretty good on AI.
Hmm.
So I think yeah, you have so many issues with AI, yeah, but like you developing 10 times faster or 100 times faster. Of course
Iterate.
you will have issues.
Yeah.
It is expected you should have issues, basically. You will have security problems, you have bugs, you will have some things that doesn't really make sense. Sure, fix the prompting, fix the harnessing and memory, and yeah, go ahead and fix those things in the system, but do not touch the code. If you touch the code, you kind of like broke the idea of agentic development, basically.
Oh my goodness. So it went from, I guess what you're saying is like it maybe a year and a half ago, it went from, yeah, I'm using an AI coding assistant. It's helping me write 20% of my code, 30%. It's checking things, it's validating things, to maybe 8 months ago when Opus came out to, oh, it's writing code, it's writing 60, 70%. And now you're saying it's 100%, or close to 100%. I mean, it can be argued it's always going to be in between 85 and 100%. But you're saying as an experienced vendor, an experienced shop, you're nearing the 100 mark, or you're closer to the 100 mark.
Depending on the project, just to be clear.
Wow.
It is some projects that you cannot do this, it's some limitations that applies, etc. But in many, many cases, especially for new projects, we have many smaller projects below, let's say, 100K budgeting wise, that is basically 1 month's build, all agentic development. Yeah, we spend a lot of time on creating the right documentation and the right harnessing and right logic to actually create the flows there, and ensure that AI knows everything. And yeah, we mentioned AI to develop this basically in a matter of days.
Wow.
So the most time spent actually on discussing functionality, making product decisions, all of those things. Writing with AI agentic systems, it's really quick.
Hmm. So I remember working for a company, maybe about 7, 8 years ago, and they used to charge, I don't know, 20,000, 30,000 for a website. Maybe it's got a store on it. Maybe it gets up to 40,000. Um, it seems to me like if somebody got that quote today, they would just go, no, you want a simple website with an e-commerce store and a CMS, and and for 40,000, are you kidding me? You can do that now for probably in days, and like 4x less the cost, like you said, right? So what is the unique selling proposition? Like you it's different for you. Like you have a business that has 18 years worth of clients. Your reputation is amazing in the industry. But where does the business of software development go from here? And maybe you don't know, like you said before, but what is the edge that people can have?
I don't think anyone knows. This
Yeah.
is the fun fact. I mean, listen, if we're talking about uh, the websites, we still have websites that we do for 100K.
Okay.
Um, it's not a simple promo website, obviously. And it is many cases when AI is not doing the best. It still exists. Again, it's not the silver bullet for everything. Pixel perfect is not the best thing for AI. And again, we built system to leverage it as much as possible. However, we limit it into ability of doing this just because, again, AI is not perfect there.
Hmm.
And if we have a projects where client will tell us, hey, this shade is 30%, it's supposed to be 45. You kind of like, you cannot use the AI for this.
Mm.
AI will think it's okay. Because it's okay, no one cares.
Yeah.
But someone in some enterprises will. So realistically, we have limitations there, obviously, but for many projects, those things not really applies and not really important because the time of the feature that will leave is really low. And yeah, you can adapt and you can fix those things later, etc. So it's an iterative process. Where the software development will go, it is the question that I have no idea, because I think how I see the industry right now, everyone using it. The number of people that using this at an advanced level. So let's say we have the first level of coding assistance, kind of like a copilots, etc. This is probably 80% of the market, or even more. And you still have, by the way, a lot of folks that believe that they can do things better than AI. And thank you. I really appreciate that those folks exist. They really helping us to grow our business. Um, I'm really happy for this. And last year we had those folks that we had inside of the company that no longer is a company because we don't need the folks to really write better than AI. We need folks to create systems for AI to create systems that better. So it's simple. Where it will go, it's a good question that I think I have really a lot of open-ended discussions because realistically, we don't really know if we will have a system that will allow us to create everything from scratch in a matter of seconds. I think a few kind of like ideas where I think we kind of like going. I think in um, real life, what I see is the model advancements that happen at least like right now doesn't really affect the quality of outputs so dramatically. Because again, the difference between Fable, Mythos, and Opus, etc., is basically really minimal. If you have the right harnessing, if you have the right system, and you're not stupid enough to not create the documentation in a stupid way, in this case, you will have pretty much a good output. And you can use open source models as well and have cost like that 10 times less.
Hmm.
I think this is where we kind of like leading this into. So the better models doesn't equal the better performance because the problem is actually people that prompting this.
Hmm.
And I'm not saying that the prompting is a problem. I'm saying that many people just do not give AI enough information what they need to do. They give AI 2 lines. Hey, build me wherever this system. And I build me a website for my company. I'm doing wherever balloon sales for holiday parties. Great. It's not enough to describe the task. You probably should really think through the content first before you ask about the website, as example. In this case, is a simple example. And you need to go through the understanding what the actual flows of users should be. So I think this is not going away, and AI with better models will not solve this. And in large systems, it's still the question of really deep understanding of the users and really deep understanding of what people will buy and what they actually need.
Mm-hmm.
And in many cases, it is a question of harnessing and engineering those systems. Will we have more faster development? Absolutely, yes. I think the cost, we kind of like have a kind of like pricing crisis that coming probably to the market as well, because the cost is kind of like going down in a way. Again, right now, I think many folks that on more advanced levels of agentic development systems have an age of creating faster and better. And I think the smaller dev shops and folks that don't really so deep into AI, I think those guys will get to this point. But at this point, it will have more and more on the folks that are already on a bigger level. But we definitely will have on like mid-market and lower tier market, we'll have a lot of folks that kind of, hey, I will do everything for 5,000 or whatever.
Yeah.
We'll have those cases. And again, you kind of like looking into this and with the same kind of mindset as like, can you, let's say we like 5 years ago, can we go to cheaper developer in different countries and build systems for cheaper? Absolutely. Will this be a good quality product? No. Like, I mean, some exceptions, sure. But generally speaking, if you're hiring someone for $15 an hour, do not expect them to build you a next unicorn, please.
Yeah.
Like, don't be like ridiculous, because people thinking that developers for $200 an hour and $20 an hour are the same thing. No, they're like completely different.
Yeah.
Can both of them be stupid? Yes, but generally this is a difference.
Yeah, that makes absolute sense, and I see how your advisory, consulting, investing sort of like fit hand in hand with that, because you definitely they say taste and judgment is a big thing these days, and I think with your experience it comes a lot of that. So I just wanted to end out with I know that you I've said this a couple times already that you don't know where the industry is going, but if there was one bold prediction that you can make for the next 12 to 18 months that you can say, you know, I'll put my name on this prediction, what would it be?
Oh boy. And after people will quote me and I would be like,
I'll clip this one.
Oh no. Okay. I think I will give you two, just in case.
Okay.
To choose which one will work. Probably no, none of them. I think the first logic that we would see is that we'll have more and more open source usage.
Okay.
So basically, we'll have multi-agentic systems on many open source models that you're not giving away your data. Again, if you're a small company building some not like life science type of stuff and you building another SaaS for X, Y, and Z things, it doesn't really matter. But when we're talking about like really companies with a lot of private data, hey, open source is the way to go. And with the right harnessing, it's actually not much worse than the best models on the market. So it is, and much cheaper. Like it is really important in terms of the inference. I think this is the one prediction that I see. The second is I think we'll have more and more systems that have a different user flow experiences where we actually have less people interacting with the system and doing whatever system need, like inputting information inside of the CRMs, etc. So you basically will have a system that will give you tasks that already completed or suggest tasks to do. So it will be something like, okay, so you had a conversation with John. So I logged this conversation. Based on this, here's the proposal that I generated. Please review and approve. And here's the contract. Please review and approve. As well as here's a few tasks to tell the product team to potentially add. And I already sent those. So this is the way how we would see the interactions with many interfaces in the future. I'm not saying that all will be text. I think it will be still interfaces and UI, etc. I think we need the visual representation of those things. However, I don't think we need actually manually click through those system and interfaces. And I would pay for this CRM more than I would pay for a regular one because it's actually reducing my flows. And you can do this inside of Hotspot. You can do this inside of Salesforce right now if you set up this right, but it's not a default.
Interesting. Yeah. Decision data is important. Yep. Thank you, Vadim, for your time today. It was a very enlightening conversation for me and a very fun one because it's about software development, which it's been a long-term passion of mine. So have yourself a great day, sir, and maybe stay on for a second.